Welcome to Bro Joe Builds. Now, welcome to part 2. What I can tell you is that things didn't go as planned. So I had to pull all the valves out of the head, and being that these heads were rebuilt, again I placed some stills for you guys to see. I thought these heads would be a little bit better condition than they were. But long story short, I pulled each valve out, and each valve had excessive clearance issues with the guides. So in the picture, some of the stills, you'll be able to see that someone put bronze liners in, and it was rebuilt at one point, but sometime between then and now there's been excessive wear. Whether they were rebuilt improperly or misuse, hard to tell, but this is things that will happen, you know, when you're going out for the quest of being as cheap as possible. But so I decided to continue and go forth with these set cylinder heads. We could go out to the junkyard and for $100, like I said, probably find another pair. But let's be realistic. Sometimes, depending on where you're from, it might be difficult to find another casting. So we're gonna continue with these cylinder heads.
At the time of this recording, I hadn't spoken to my machine shop yet, and after speaking with the machine shop, me and him came to the conclusion that for a budget build, this cylinder head wasn't going to be the one, being that I needed to change all the guides. But that doesn't mean these heads were garbage. They weren't cracked, and we'll have a video of searching for a crack with these same cylinder heads and do a port job and build with the cylinder heads, but to a little bit more of an extreme, not a more budget build with this cylinder head. But we are going to go back and show some of the things that you needed to do when building a Vortec cylinder head to have a good street friendly cylinder head that you could just slap on to your project, as long as it didn't have any cracks, or like in this case needed all new guides. Even though this head was a rebuilt head, I will repeat, these heads definitely went through a machine shop not too long in its life, and by looking at the valve train and looking at the valve guides, it looked like more or less the machine shop that did the work did a very poor job, and unfortunately this is what we have here. But doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to use these heads, and I'll show you what I'm going to do, and pretty much taking lemons and making lemonade. At the very end of this video, you will see that I left a little burnout video for you guys to enjoy, and I hope to show you a little bit more of that Chevette in the future, and a little bit more of some of my other projects in the future here at Bro Joe Builds.
I would just try to knock off some of the heavy stuff, and you know, the rest of the stuff, the heavy grease can probably get knocked off with some brake clean later on. But my main focus was to clean the deck surface and inspect for cracks, especially after I hit it with some dye.